Hello everyone and welcome back to One Soccer. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming, and we are back with another episode of our Canadians Abroad series. This week we are going to take a look at Jonathan David and his incredible goal scoring form, Alphonso Davies and his injury troubles, and of course take a look at our Canadian women's national team who had a couple of friendlies over the past week, plus a lot more in our Canadians Abroad, so hopefully you guys are excited, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub, and let's get into the update now. Alphonso Davies writes his name in the record books once again as he becomes the most capped Canadian in men's Champions League history with 24 caps after starting in Bayern's group stage match against Vitoria Pilsen midweek. Davies passes Atiba Hutchinson, who currently has 23 caps to his name, and in other news, Alphonso Davies is now the most valued left back in the world as per Transfermarkt with a value of 70 million euros. Davies must have felt good going into Der Klassiker as they have defeated Dortmund in 8 straight matches. Unfortunately, the match was one to forget. Davies started and played 45 minutes as a left back in a 4-2-3-1 system. He was subbed out at halftime due to getting a foot to the face from Jude Bellingham, and Bayern confirmed that Davies has suffered a skull bruise. The club says that he's doing well according to the circumstances and that he's reportedly going to miss Wednesday's Champions League match against Vitoria Pilsen, but is expected to return over the weekend against Freiburg. Bayern were winning the match 2-0 and gave up 2 late goals as it finished 2-2, ending their 8-match winning streak over Dortmund. With this result, Bayern remained third place in the table with a 4-4-1 record. That was a very scary moment that had every Canadian taking a very deep breath. I was nervous when I watched Davies leaving the pitch. He looked a little wobbly and I was thinking that it could have been a concussion. Thankfully, it's not, and he's looking to return over the weekend, so every Canadian can finally breathe and know that Davies should be returning to action very soon. Moving along to France now, we are checking in with Jonathan David, who over the weekend started and played 90 minutes as a striker in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, David had 4 shots, created 3 chances, he had 32 touches, completed 91% of his passes, and he scored the match-winning goal. Early in the first half, Lens had a penalty that they missed, and late in the first half, Lille won themselves a penalty. David stepped up and coolly put it away in the bottom right-hand corner. It was a well-taken penalty and put away with confidence as David has now scored in 3 matches in a row, bringing his total tally to 7 goals and 2 assists in 10 matches. He sits in 3rd place in the total goal contribution race in Liga, just behind Messi and Neymar. Lille went on to win the derby 1-0 against Lens to move up to 7th place in the table with a 5-1-4 record. This was a massive win for Lille and Paulo Fonseca. This is a derby, one of the biggest fixtures in Ligue 1, and for Jonathan David to step up and get the winner is going to do him confidence, is going to do the team confidence, and for me, the most important thing is that they went up against a high-flying, talented team like Lens and kept a clean sheet. Can't wait to see if this can give them some type of boost to compete for a Champions League or even Europa League place. Moving along now to Belgium, we are checking in on Dayne Buchanan and Kyle Larin. Midweek in the Champions League, Club Brugge won 2-0 over Atletico Madrid, and halfway through the Champions League group stage, they sit first place in the table on 9 points, 6 points ahead of every other club in the group. Buchanan started in that match against Atletico, making his Champions League debut, playing 78 minutes and picking up an assist as well. Buchanan looked so good in that match. He was constantly running at defenders, showing that he can play at the absolute highest level. Atletico defenders were struggling to deal with him all night long. He even tried a little flick on that ended up leading to the assist. Really impressive match in his Champions League debut. Despite the positive result midweek, things didn't go as smoothly over the weekend as both Buchanan and Larin began the match on the bench. Buchanan was substituted into the match in the 57th minute and Larin came on in the 67th minute. Club Brugge were down 1-0, but unfortunately were not able to find the equalizer, conceding another late goal and ended up losing 2-0 against Westerlo. They remain 3rd place in the table with a 7-1-3 record. Larin is still finding game time hard to come by, although Buchanan seems to be picking up right where he left off. He didn't start over the weekend, but I'm assuming it's because he's still somewhat returning from injury and they want him to be ready to go against Atletico Madrid on Wednesday. It was so impressive watching Buchanan go up against Atletico Madrid. This is a European giant in a side that is known for its defensive abilities. Buchanan was causing defenders issues all night long. I cannot wait to see what this Champions League run and World Cup could do for Buchanan's stock. Stopping on over in Portugal, we are going to take a look at Eustaquio, who started his 8th consecutive match in a row, playing all 90 minutes as a center mid in a 4-4-2 system. In the match, Eustaquio created 4 chances, had 62 touches, he had 1 shot, 5 recoveries, and completed 81% of his passes. Porto went on to win the match 2-0 and now sit with a 7-1-1 record and are 2nd place in the table, only 3 points behind Benfica. Eustaquio is just getting better and better with each match he plays for Porto. You can definitely see his confidence growing, and Porto are getting rewarded for putting so much faith in Eustaquio. Their next goal will be to pick up another big victory against Leverkusen on Wednesday as they aim to make it out of their group and into the round of 16 in the Champions League. Canadians are used to watching Davies thrive at the Champions League level. We watched David do it last season. Obviously, he's not competing in the competition this season, but we did get a treat watching Larin Buchanan and Eustaquio prove that they can thrive at this level as well. And the cool thing is, right now, all of their clubs look to be moving on to the round of 16. Bayern, Porto, and Club Brugge are in great opportunity right now to make that jump to the knockout stages, which means we could watch three, and you count Kyle Larin as well if he can get some minutes in there, 3 or 4 Canadians playing in the Champions League knockout stages. Our Canadian women's national team was in action playing 2 friendlies over the past week. The first match was against Argentina, and it was a solid test for Canada in the first half. However, Argentina went down to 10 players in the 57th minute, and shortly after, an own goal gave Canada a 1-0 lead before Chloe Lacasse put the game to bed, scoring her first goal for Canada with one of the easiest finishes she will ever have. In the second match, Canada took on Morocco, and it was a simpler task as Fleming scored Canada's first goal, making it look so easy. Beans found her goal as she had an impressive window to make it 2-0 before Becky put away a beautiful finish making it 3. And finally, Lara C scored using her speed to make it 4-0 and seal a big win for Canada. It was another impressive window for our ladies as they continued to prepare for the upcoming 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup. Shifting our attention over to England, we are going to take a look at Junior Hoilett, who began the match on the bench and was substituted into the match in the 39th minute due to an early injury. Hoilett featured as a right wing back in a 3-5-2 system. He created 1 chance, had 23 touches and 2 recoveries. Reading went on to lose the match 2-1 against QPR to sit 5th place in the table with a 7-1-5 record. Hoilett was supposed to have a little bit more rest in this match due to him playing 90 minutes midweek against Norwich City. He did look solid coming off the bench, and he will now have an entire week off because his next match isn't until October 15th. In my opinion, I've really liked what Reading has done with Junior Hoilett this season. They know he's getting up there in age, but he's still a valued player of this team. They play him when it's necessary. They manage his minutes very well, and he looks to be in very good form and shape leading into this World Cup. Remaining in the championship, we are going to take a look at Theo Corbeanu, who started over the weekend and played 66 minutes as a right wing in a 4-3-3 system. In the match, Corbeanu had 4 shots, 30 touches, he had 2 successful dribbles, and he had 3 recoveries. It was another strong performance from Theo, proving once again he's a challenging player for opposing defenders to deal with. Blackpool went on to win the match 3-1 against Watford to sit 19th place in the table with a 4-3-6 record. Corbeanu has fought very hard to earn the starting role with Blackpool. If he's able to continue impacting matches at the championship level, he'll have a good chance of making the World Cup squad. I've personally been so impressed with Corbeanu so far this season, making that jump from League 1 to the Championship, fitting right in. I think this could be a very important play for Canada to come off the bench, bring speed, bring something just a little different, creative outlook to the game. Really excited to see what he can do for the rest of the season leading up to this World Cup. Heading back on over to Portugal, we are going to take a look at Steven Vitoria, who is back in action. He started and played 90 minutes as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, Vitoria had 36 touches, 19 clearances, 1 block shot, 2 interceptions, and he won 8 out of 10 duels in the match. After missing the previous match due to suspension, it was the perfect return for Vitoria, having an incredible match at the back as Chavez went on to shock Braga, winning away from home 1-0. With the result, Chavez sit 10th place in the table with a 3-3-3 record. Suspensions ruined Vitoria's season last campaign as he never was able to recover from them, getting consecutive red cards in a row. So it's great to see him return from one this season and put in a great performance. This will definitely give him confidence. I was personally so impressed with Vitoria this weekend. This can be such a mental block for players. Red cards literally ruined his season last campaign. He wasn't able to find a way back into the starting 11 and basically sat on the bench for the remainder of the season. He got a red card. He didn't let it affect his confidence. He went back in and put in a performance like that. My hat goes off to him. I can't wait to see him continue this form leading into the World Cup. Moving on over to Serbia, we are checking in with Milan Borjan, who started in goal and played all 90 minutes, picking up a clean sheet as Red Star went on to win the match 3-0 to sit first place in the table with a 10-2-0 record. Their Europa League journey continues this Thursday as they take on Ferencváros again. They defeated them last week, and another win over them will bring them out of last place in the group. It's been such an impressive start for Red Star once again. 10 wins, 2 draws, 0 losses in their opening 12 matches. This side is unstoppable in league play. They're hoping to replicate that form in the Europa League. I think they have a good opportunity to get out of the group. It's a tight one. They need to pick up 3 points, and Milan Borjan getting a ton of minutes this season will definitely, hopefully, have a hand in helping them do that. Elsewhere in Ligue 1, we are checking in with another Canadian striker, Ike Ugbo, who began the match on the bench over the weekend and was substituted in the 77th minute to try and help his side complete an epic comeback. Troyes were down 3-0 in the match but scored 2 late goals, however it wasn't enough as they ended up losing the match 3-2 against Nice. Ugbo hasn't started in 3 matches in a row, although he did make an impact coming off the bench against Nice, picking up an assist on Troyes' second goal of the game. Ugbo showed incredible vision as he had a no-look back pass to perfectly set up Abdou to slam it home. With the result, Troyes now sit 12th place in the table with a 3-2-5 record. Ugbo has only started once in the last 6 matches, and the only way to break back into the starting 11 is to continue to make an impact when he's given the chance. Troyes really struggled to score goals last season. Ike Ugbo definitely helped out with that, and it seemed like him coming back to the club this season on a permanent basis would mean that he become the starting striker. This season definitely hasn't gone his way so far this season, but there's a lot of time left, and it's good to see him, despite not getting starts, to come off the bench and find a way to be creative. He didn't score a goal against Nice, but he found an incredible way to impact the match and with a really nice touch. Excited to see if that maybe gives him a little bit of confidence or a little bit more trust in him to get a start soon, because riding the bench and playing out of position is not ideal leading up to this World Cup for Ike Ugbo. Moving on over to Greece now, we are checking in with Cornelius, who started once again, playing all 90 minutes as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, Cornelius completed 78% of his passes, he had 7 clearances, 6 recoveries, and he had 34 touches. It wasn't Cornelius' strongest performance this season so far, as Pantelikos went on to lose 3-2 and sit 7th place in the table with a 3-1-3 record. It was a tough match for Cornelius and the entire back line, as they had to play down a man for the entire second half and just weren't able to hold on, conceding the winning goal on the 78th minute. It's never easy for a side to play down a man for the majority of a match. This one was obviously a tough circumstance for Cornelius. He's looked so good so far this season. Hopefully that they're just going to be able to recover and bounce back next week. In my opinion though, I still think Cornelius, with the season he's having so far, is a really good opportunity for him to make that World Cup squad. Stopping back in Germany, we are going to take a look at Scott Kennedy, who started once again over the weekend, featuring and playing all 90 minutes as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, Kennedy had 73 touches, 2 clearances, 2 recoveries, and created 1 chance, as Jan Regensburg went on to draw the match 2-2 against Firth to sit 13th place in the table with a 3-3-5 record. Kennedy has now started 5 matches in a row and has played 90 minutes in all of them. After a rocky start to the season, it's great to see him back in the starting 11 and staying there. It's also really good to see Scott Kennedy featuring in a back 3 and a back 4. You know how John Herman is, he likes playing with his back 3s, his back 4s, they can switch and transition as well. So the fact that Scott Kennedy is able to play in both systems could boost his opportunities to fight away into that starting 11. Heading on over to the Netherlands now, we are going to take a look at Charles-Andreas Brym, who started over the weekend and played 90 minutes as a right attacking mid in a 3-4-2-1 system. In the match, Brym had 55 touches, 8 recoveries, he had 3 successful dribbles, 3 shots, he created 3 chances, and he completed 89% of his passes. Eindhoven went on to lose the match 1-0 and now sit 4th place in the table with a 5-4-1 record. Brym was very lively in the match once again, however he's still missing that end product as he only has 1 assist in 6 matches so far from his tally he had last season, and Eindhoven are definitely struggling as they have not won in 4 straight matches. I was definitely in favor for Brym to return to Eindhoven. I wanted to see him get a lot of minutes leading up to the World Cup. He is getting those minutes, he just hasn't been as impactful as he was probably hoping to be returning to Eindhoven. The manager is still showing confidence in him. Ever since Brym really returned to the starting 11, the results haven't gone Eindhoven's way. Regardless, I'm hoping that they can find a way to turn it around, but it's good to see at least the manager is showing Brym confidence, and hopefully he can repay that trust. Heading back to England and dropping down a couple of leagues to League 2, we are going to take a look at Aribim Pepple, who over the weekend began the match on the bench and was substituted in the 85th minute. 1 minute later after coming off the bench, Pepple got an assist, his second assist of the season, as Grimsby Town went on to win 3-0 to sit 11th place in the table with a 5-4-3 record. Pepple has featured in 6 matches so far this season, only 1 of those were starts. However, with his limited time on the pitch this season, he has still found a way to be impactful, picking up 2 assists. It's great to see such a young player move from the Canadian Premier League over to England and finding a way to be an impactful player. I'd still like to see him get a few more minutes on this pitch because this is a loan move where he's supposed to get minutes to help develop, but either way, he's showing that he can definitely impact a match. Moving along now to Major League Soccer, we are checking in with Maxime Crepeau, who started in goal for LAFC in a 4-3-3 system. In the match, he had 1 save, 30 touches, he had 3 recoveries, and faced an XG of 1.29. Crepeau conceded 1 goal as LAFC lost the match 1-0 against Nashville. They finished off the season in 1st place in the West with a 21-4-9 record. They also won the Supporters' Shield, being the number 1 place team in the league. LAFC will take on the winner of LA Galaxy and Nashville in the quarterfinals of MLS Cup. Finishing first place in the West means that you get a bye in the first round of playoffs. Only 2 clubs get a bye, the first place club in the West and the East, and that's where the debate comes in. Is it better to get that bye and you have a little bit more rest, or is it better to play, get into that playoff form, and then hopefully pick up a win to lead to the next round? It's definitely up there for debate. I feel like I would actually rather play a match to kind of get that form going instead of sitting and staying cold, but we'll have to see how it plays out for LAFC. Moving along now to another Canadian MLS keeper, Dayne St was in action on decision day, starting in goal for Minnesota United in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, St. Clair made 7 saves, he had 44 touches, 13 recoveries, and faced an XG of 1.17. St. Clair picked up an impressive clean sheet as Minnesota went on to win 2-0 against the Vancouver Whitecaps to end the season in 6th place in the West with a 14-6-14 record, securing a playoff place. Unfortunately for Vancouver Whitecaps supporters, this result means they missed out on qualifying for playoffs. Minnesota going into this match were 6 matches without a win. They needed this win to make playoffs, and when it counted, they got the job done. St. Clair played a big part of that. He's been so impressive all season long, and when it came down to this final game on decision day, he had another incredible performance, and I cannot wait to see what he can do in the playoff run. Jason Russell-Rowe and Mo Farsi were in action over the weekend as they played for Columbus Crew 2 in the final of MLS Next Pro Cup, taking on St. Louis City 2. It's been an incredible season for the 2 of them so far, and they were hoping to end it on a high, and did they ever. The Crew 2 went on to win the match 4-1, and Russell-Rowe scored a penalty in the match, showing why he was the league's first ever Golden Boot winner. Now, Russell-Rowe and Farsi are MLS Next Pro Cup champions and are in the record books, once again being part of the first club ever to lift this trophy. This was an incredible moment for the Crew too, but things didn't go as well for the first team as the Columbus Crew fell short, losing to Orlando City on decision day, and with that they missed out on playoffs. Farsi did feature in that match, however, which is fantastic to see, and you would have to imagine after the incredible seasons both Russell-Rowe and Farsi had, they could become first team players next season. Both have very bright futures. This is what this league was brought in to do, was to bring players to this level where they can make that transition to Major League Soccer. Both these players are probably 2 of the favorites to actually make that jump, and I'm very intrigued to see if they can do it next season. That is all the time we have for on this edition of Canadians Abroad. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well, and be sure to subscribe over to One Soccer for all the best Canadian soccer coverage. My name is Josh Deming. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers, friends.